Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching the big India Today pre-budget face-off. With the Modi Sarkar now all set to deliver its last full budget, is the Indian economy in bounce-back mode? Joining us on this big pre-budget face-off, Minister of State for Civil Aviation Jayant Sinha, one of the government's sharpest voices on economics, squaring off against him, Chief National Spokesperson of the Congress Party, Randeep Surjewala. The economic survey predicts, Mr. Jayant Sinha, that the economy is in bounce-back mode, but with private investment still not picking up, with crude oil price bouncing, now there are concerns whether the economy will take off or will it still stall.
The economy is going into fourth gear, Rahul, and that's very clearly laid out in the economic survey and in all the high-frequency indicators that are showing tremendous growth happening, whether it's in consumption, commercial vehicle sales, car sales, airline traffic. All of these high-frequency indicators are looking extremely positive right now. The other very good news, by the way, is that capacity utilization is now inching up to 80-85%, which means that there is a new wave of investment coming. And now that we are moving through the bankruptcy process for some of the large companies that have gone into bankruptcy, and that is moving forward smoothly, that overhang, the recapitalization of the banks, which was a major issue, is also dealt with. And so we are going to move into fourth gear. Now, every time we talk about the economy, there are always risks we have to take into account, and the economic survey laid those out. Primarily, those have to deal with higher oil prices. We were obviously in a sweet spot as far as India is concerned, as far as commodity prices were concerned, particularly with oil prices down to about $50 or $60 a barrel. Now they've inched up closer to $70 a barrel, and that obviously is a risk factor for us. And of course, inflation is creeping up a little bit as well, which means that monetary policy interest rates are going to remain in pause mode. And so those are the risk factors we have to think about. But nonetheless, particularly with the global economy recovering and moving along very nicely, we are going into fourth gear, we're going into top gear as far as the economy is concerned. There are many
positive indicators now. The second half, the GDP poised to grow much faster than the first half. The twin blows of demonetization and the initial problems with GST now behind us. You're seeing multiple indicators, whether it's sale of cars, commercial vehicles, airline traffic, all showing an uptick, suggesting that we could be moving towards the much promised Achhe Din, Mr. Surjewala.
How does an economy grow? Mr. Sinha is a trained economist, but let me tell you as a layman, how does an economy grow? As I understand it, an economy grows when its core sector, comprising of the maximum number of people, which in India is agriculture sector, 62 crore people, 49% employment. Is it growing? Then the economy grows. Number two, the second biggest trend setter in India's economy, after that is construction sector, which generates maximum number of jobs, as also all-round sales from steel, cement, etc., etc. That's now down to 1.7%. The third biggest sector and a job generator is textiles in this country. Textiles are apparently down despite the package given, both the leather as also the cloth, on account of the GST, 12% on yarn and 5% on cloth. Now let's just compare 2 or 3 indices more. The average industrial growth, which was 4.2% during UPA Congress, is down to 3.7%, and construction is down to 1.7. Number two, if you look at the oil prices, which you mentioned also, they earned 5,97,000 crore by raising excise and customs 11 times. Are they going to pass the benefit is another question. Food inflation, it's up to over 5% now, which he mentioned. They also mentioned many other things, but let me just point out one. The indirect tax collections that were poised to increase to about 19 lakh crores have come down to about 10,80,000 crore. So there is a shortfall even there. Is the economy growing? Yes, for some people it is growing. Is the economy growing for majority of the people? The answer is no.
So it's
they need to walk the talk, actually.
The India shining argument. Your government promised, the Prime Minister Modi promised to double farm incomes by 2022. The fact is, as of now, farm income is growing by 1.9%. even if you're a statistician, Houdini, you can't make farm income grow by 2022. Are you accepting that that big promise of doubling farm income now simply cannot be kept, that you failed?
I'm not a trained economist. I'm a businessman and an investor. But you don't need to be an economist to say that the selective usage of facts that Randeep ji, of course, is a lawyer, has used does not paint the right story. But I'm not even going to go into GDP and the components of GDP and the fact that agriculture is a small portion of GDP to say that the economy can grow even while GDP, agricultural growth is not that high. I'm not going to go into the mathematics of that, but that's pretty obvious. The reality is that the economy is growing at 7%. Next year, it is expected to grow at 7.5%, 8%. We are the world's fastest growing large economy. And it's not me who's saying it. It's the IMF, it's the World Bank, it's Moody's, all number of neutral observers who are saying that. And everybody believes that India is going to do remarkably well over the next few years. And the people like me who put their money where their mouth is, investors, if you look at FDI, that has gone up from $36 billion during the UPA time to $60 billion during our time. That's the investment that's pouring into the Indian economy.
Minister, you're dodging
if you
my
look
question.
at the stock market, if you look at the stock market, which is forward-looking, it was 22,000 was where Sensex was. During their time, it's 36,000 now. All the forward-looking indicators are very positive. Now let's come to agriculture, which is the point that Randeep ji brought up. And of course, I agree with him that we have a lot more work to do in agriculture. Don't forget that of the last 4 years that we have been in power, 2 years we had drought. We had very serious drought, and that is a very rare occurrence. It has happened in history only very, very few times where you have 2 years of consecutive drought, friends. 2 years of consecutive droughts. That notwithstanding, we have had record production of food grains, 275 million tons. We've had record production of horticulture, 300 million tons. Every particular resource, everything that we can do to support our farmers, whether it is seeds, whether it's fertilizer, whether it's irrigation, whether it's insurance, whether it is soil health cards, all of these things we are providing our farmers.
But Minister, you're dodging my question.
No,
My
I'm
question
not.
was this, that you promised to double farm income by 2022. Will you accept in this budget 2018 Modinomics face-off that you cannot keep that promise? With 4 years gone, but agriculture growing at 1.9%, it is not possible to double farm income by 2022.
Rahul, with all humility, and the Honorable Prime Minister has also mentioned this, yes, we have a real challenge as far as the agricultural sector is concerned. As I said, we had drought, we had the legacy of the past, we had a lot of serious issues that had to be dealt with in agriculture, not the least which was rural infrastructure, where we poured lakhs of crores of rupees into rural infrastructure. Those will show results. Now, whether it's 2022 or a year or two here and there, we are definitely on track to double farmers' income. That is a very, very solemn commitment of our government, and we will certainly do that.
Mr. Surjewala, there's already an acceptance that it might be, the deadline might change by 1 or 2 years, but he's confident that he'll get there. I think Jayant Sinha also made an important point. You can't only look at the negatives. You have to look at the overall picture, and there are many positives in the India story. The Congress is accused of only pinpointing the negatives and ignoring all the positives.
No, let me first come to the question that you asked. We have a huge agriculture sector. That's a reality of this country. You can't wish it away. And 62 crore people out of 125 is a huge number. Now let's look what Mr. Modi promised. Minimum support price is all that farmer relies upon. He said he will give cost plus 50%. Constituency after constituency, state after state, he went to promise that, and he said UPA has not given, I will give. Now if you look at the increase in MSP, it's under 2% instead of cost plus 50%. And what has happened? The agri GDP that was growing at 4.2% is down to 1.9%, which is a difference of close to 2.5–3%. Number two, he said he will increase farmers' income and double it by 2022. My friend now says 2024. Let's say 2030 also. But if the growth is 1.9%, it will take 40 years more. By then, majority of the farmer will be dead. That's a reality we must point out to the government with all humility. Thirdly, if you also look at agri exports, the agri trade surplus climbed up from $3.6 billion US which is 36 lakh crore, to 255 lakh crore during Congress time. It has come down to 82 lakh crore. Why?
We saw Jayant Sinha very recently, 184 groups of farmers come together in protest in different places from Telangana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. There is very clearly a growing disparity. If 73% of the people have only 1% of the wealth, there is a problem, and the fact is, despite everything you're saying you're doing, you haven't been able to fix that fundamental problem in the India story.
Are you talking about inequality or the agricultural sector? Because you spoke about both, and I'll address both. As far as inequality is concerned, by bringing the black economy out of the shadows, by formalizing the Indian economy, by increasing the tax base, by making sure that the number of GST indirect taxpayers has gone up by 50%. The number of taxpayers has almost doubled since UPA times. We have made sure that those people who should be paying their taxes, who need to pay their taxes, who've been cheating on their taxes, are now paying their taxes. This is the best way to run a progressive tax system, increase the tax base, and ensure that we can get all kinds of services and all kinds of benefits to the poor people who deserve it. And as the Honorable Prime Minister said, our government is dedicated to the poor. So we are absolutely addressing the issue of inequality. And whether it is toilets, whether it's gas cylinders, whether it's bank accounts, whether it is health insurance, all of these things we are providing BPL families and other people who deserve it. So we are working on behalf of the poor, and absolutely we are determined to do that. Now coming back to the agriculture sector, Randeep ji has given a whole host of facts about it. I can also give a whole host of facts about it, including how much we have done as far as rural roads are concerned, what we have done for rural electricity, the 1 lakh crore or more that we have done as far as farm loan waivers are concerned. All of these things we have done. In addition, if you look at minimum support prices, when you look at cereals, when you look at cotton, when you look at sugarcane, in many of these sectors, those minimum support prices are very, very profitable for our farmers. There are some in perishable goods, particularly vegetables, where the minimum support price regime has to be implemented. We are working towards that. There are very innovative things happening in Madhya Pradesh and some of our other states where we are trialing these mechanisms. And the moment we do that, I am sure that all of these issues and challenges that farmers are facing right now will be substantially addressed.
I want to shift attention now to the issue of job creation.
Can I, Rahul, just add one thing?
You have a question linked to what?
Before we go to my friend. The question was, why does one person, people have 73% of money? My friend did not answer that. That's a question that each one of us,
but it's also a legacy issue.
No, irrespective of which party we belong to, need to address. Two, I also want to point out to him, when he says they've given great price for sugarcane, he forgets that that great price is 10 rupee increase in 4 years. I don't know if 10 rupee increase per quintal in 4 years is great price. Congratulations.
Okay, let's take some questions. Go ahead, please.
So when we talk about agriculture, most of the times we talk about the poor farmer. But there's another side to the story. There are 4%. If we tax the 4%, top 4% of the farmers, the government can get an income of 25,000 crores. Can we discuss taxing the rich farmers?
Absolutely. Let's have a round of applause for that question. Now, he comes from Hazaribagh, lots of farmers where he comes from. Will you show the political gumsham? Dikhao kitna dam hai?
Well, before that, let me answer the question about the 73% of the wealth owned by 1% of taxpayers. The fact of the matter is, folks, is that wealth is something that is accumulated over a long period of time. Wealth is not accumulated in 4 years. Wealth is accumulated over the 60-65 years when the Congress was in power.
Show the guts to go after the rich farmers who are richer than all of us over here.
I'm coming to the rich farmer thing. As far as the wealth inequality is concerned, it's largely because of the policies that the Congress followed. And of course, as I said, by formalizing GST, demonetization, all the things we're doing, we are addressing those inequalities. Now, coming to the question of taxing agricultural income. That is a matter that has been discussed many times. We are not in support of it. Let me be crystal clear. We are not in support of taxing agricultural income at all.
Why?
Various estimates.
Why should the middle class, salaried class pay taxes and the rich farmer not pay any taxes?
Because
no, but they're already taxing agriculture. Let me correct him. I'm sorry for butting in.
Because first of all,
because
there are
bad
very
politics.
Few. No. Because there are.
Because you need their votes. You can squeeze all of us in the middle class.
Rahul has become a fire, belching, tax-paying radical here. But you have to also be thoughtful about what is possible and what is not possible from a compliance point of view. To actually identify these kinds of farmers and to really figure out what is agricultural and not agricultural income will be absolutely unrealistic to do in reality. It's far better to go after other areas where taxes are not being paid, such as, for example, what we've done through GST, we've done through the Benami bill. There's much more money to be found there than to be found as far as agriculture.
Let's take the next question. Go on, please.
So, as you proudly said that demonetization was the thing, so we all know that it was for getting out the black money from people. As he mentioned that only about 40,000 crore rupee was has come back. So where has all the money gone?
The money.
So why have we put that issue under the carpet, and why don't we address that?
No, the issue
not the amount of money that was expected has been collected.
That on the issue of retrieving black money via demonetization, on that score, demonetization has
nothing
failed.
has been put under the carpet. In fact, it has been put into bank accounts, which is very good news, because those people who should not have been, because they had black money and should not have been putting money into bank accounts, put their money into bank accounts, and as a result of that, we now have a digital trail. We know who had unaccounted income, who had money that they should not have, and because we have the digital trail, we know who put the money in the bank account. We are tracking them down, and we found outrageous abuses. Just a few bank accounts.
What have you done for that?
We are going after them. And if you read the newspapers, you will see how many people we've gone after, what is the investigation that is going on right now, and lots of people are being exposed as a result of this.
Well, Rahul, I need to make two important issues. I think my friend, for the first time, is trying to mislead, with due regards to him. Firstly,
Just for the first time, so you accept everything else he said.
Thank you.
Well, he is somebody who is a gentleman to the core. He's trying to mislead and he's wrong. And let me correct him. Firstly, are you saying that you are you said you will bring back 80 lakh crore of black money within 100 days. You don't even speak about it now. That was the solemn promise on which you came to power. And put 15 lakh rupees in everybody's account. Mr. Sinha needs to say, 15 lakh gaye kahan? Kiski jeb mein gaye? Number two, you are converting people's black money into white. You are giving them amnesty. And you have not started one, instead 3 amnesty scheme for black money holders. And thirdly, sir, when you brought in demonetization, you forget to tell people that 6 lakh crore rupee were deposited in 30 days prior to demonetization. Who leaked that information? Did you ever investigate? Have you ever told people that your own president, where he is a director in a bank, 100 crore rupees were deposited in that bank? Has anybody investigated? 8,450 crore were declared by one chartered accountant in Ahmedabad. You picked him up, arrested him. We don't know what happened to that money. Bharatiya Janata Party bought hundreds and hundreds of crores of rupees of property, including in your own state, where 8 properties were purchased. Whether that money was black or white. And in this city, a car was caught with 2 crore rupees of cash, and they said it was going from 11 Ashoka Road BJP headquarter to the BJP headquarter in Lucknow. हमारे लिए तो 10 रुपए की चाय भी आम आदमी के लिए पेटीएम से दें, और आप 2 करोड़ रुपए कैश में ले जा रहे हैं.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Randeep ji for complimenting me for being a gentleman, and I want to return the compliment to him with interest, because it's really a pleasure to debate with him. But unfortunately,
well, now you know I'm right.
You know, both of you will be in trouble. There's a mutual admiration society going. Modi ji and Amit Shah won't like it. I don't know whether Rahul Gandhi will like it.
That's called having a civilized discussion.
Correct.
Which is, of course, what we should have. So thank you, Randeep ji. But of course, Randeep ji remembers well, we've had this discussion previously as well. And even then, when he brought up these very incidents, when we debated the matter of demonetization, I requested him, with all sincerity, I requested him, that if his facts are so accurate, that if he has such high conviction in what he's saying, he is an accomplished and very capable lawyer, please go to the courts and get justice there. If you think that
that means government will do no justice against black money holders. Go to the court.
No, Randeep ji, the fact of the matter is that if you have credible evidence, please start the process either in the courts or file an FIR or give us the evidence, give it to me.
I'm in people's court, you do justice, I'm challenging you.
No, but these are very legal, serious matters. These are legal, serious matters. Nobody better than you knows about how serious these allegations are. If these allegations are this serious, provide us the evidence. We will take up whatever necessary action is required, or you can go to the courts for justice. But the reality of the matter is, when we come back to this issue, of whether the perpetrators of black money, the people who were operating in the shadows, who were doing wrong things, are being tracked down, or whether justice is being served on them, I can assure Randeep ji and all of you, the government is doing its utmost to track them down, and the investigations are underway, and lots and lots of exposures have already happened.
So in the last part of this broadcast, I want to come to the issue of job creation. Candidate Modi promised 1 crore jobs every year. 1 crore jobs every year. In 2015, there were 1.55 lakh jobs created. In 2016, there were 2.31 lakh jobs created. And now we are reading, Mr. Sinha, that the definition of what is a job is going to change. And everybody who's got a grant under Mudra will get a job. The Congress says this is pakodanomics. That instead of focusing on economics, नौकरी नहीं बनी तो नौकरी की definition बदल दो.
Chainomics को pakodanomics बना दिया है.
No, that's a very serious charge, and you understand this well. You can't change the definition because the definition doesn't suit you.
We don't need to change the definition. We have to look at what is a formal job. What is a formal job? I can get into a lengthy explanation of the facts, but very important factor that you have to take into account. A formal job is one in which somebody is part of the Provident Fund organization. Somebody has an organization that is paying into their Provident Fund. They're also paying into that Provident Fund. There has been a very important study that has just been done by IIM Bangalore and by the State Bank of India, and they have shown by going through the EPFO data that somewhere in the region of 60 to 70 lakh jobs, almost a crore jobs that is, are being created, formal jobs are being created, because these are the number of new people that are being added to the EPFO database every year. That is remarkable job creation that has happened. And of course, coming back to Mudra, we don't even have to go to the 1 crore, 2 crore. There have been 10 crore people, 100 million people that have got 4 lakh crores worth of loans, and there is a whole range of businesses they've established. In Hazaribagh, in my own constituency, I know people have set up mobile repair shops, they have set up motorcycle repair shops, they have set up beauty parlors, they have set up shops. All of these have happened.
So tell me this, Minister,
it's not just
somebody selling pakoras outside India today, is he someone in your view who's got a job or not? I'm a little confused now.
Well, it comes back to, I would say that person has got a job, they are self-employed, but of course they don't have a formal job and they don't have a job in the organized sector. But we are working, as you know, through the Labour Ministry to be able to put in place a whole social security scheme for everybody, whether they work in the formal sector or the informal sector.
Mr. Surjewala, these are real numbers. 3.92 lakh crores sanctioned to 9.52 crore beneficiaries till September 15, 2017. At some point in time, traditional Labour Ministry definitions of what constitutes a job needs to change. India is not producing 1.55 or 2.17 lakh jobs every year. That is absurd. So to hold that against the government is a fallacious argument. The fact is, I don't believe a pakoda wala has a proper job. To say that that's a job that's contestable, but the definition has to change, Mr. Surjewala.
I'm happy that you raised this, and my friend also raises this. In Mudra, there are 9.91 crore accounts. And how much money has been given to each account holder out of them? That's a figure that we must look at. 44,298 rupees. I ask that to you, Rahul, as also to the audience here. How many of you can do business and be self-employed and be gainfully employed with 44,000 rupees? I think that's a yardstick. If this is the yardstick, congratulations to you. That's a complete fallacy. If you look at Mudra figures, 44,298 rupees per account. Are we joking? Are we trying to say that everybody who's been given
Kishore and Tarun, people have also been given loans up to 10 lakh rupees. There are people who are getting loans between 50,000 and 1 to 5 lakh rupees. You can't just look at that lowest denomination and say that 50,000 rupees, that's the Shishu loan. I'm giving you a cumulative figure. I'm also giving you one more thing. If you say every loan given by bank, see, the great part is we can fudge figures, but we can't fudge reality. Every loan given by a bank to anybody can be said to be a mudra loan and now counted here. You also know, I also know, and the entire world knows there is a whole group of youngsters sitting here. And the whole problem is that people have skills, they have qualifications, they have skill sets, but they do not have an adequate or even a satisfying job for themselves. According to the Prime Minister, a PhD can be pakoda wala. Yes, he can be. But is that gainful employment? The answer is no, only for the Prime Minister and Mr. Sinha, a pakode wala, a PhD pakode wala can be a in the
job.
news now.
Rahul, I need to come in here.
Yes.
Remember that people grow in what they do. If a chai wala can become a Prime Minister, a pakoda wala can start a huge franchise.
A pakode wala, according to Mr.
Start
Sinha.
their own, for God's sake, they can start their own McDonald's. So absolutely we have to give people credence. And the other thing, I'm very glad that Randeep ji is a lawyer, not an engineer, because if he was an engineer, if he was good with numbers, he'd know that you can't use averages. You can't use averages to make these kinds of points.
Okay.
The reality is there's a distribution of loans. There's a distribution of loans that have been given out. If you want to start a motorcycle repair shop, you may need a lakh or two. बट अगर आपको मुर्गी पालन करना है तो 40,000 से भी मुर्गी के पालन हो सकता है, 20,000 से भी हो सकता है. अगर आपको बकरी खरीदनी है, 2 बकरी खरीदनी है, आप आइए मेरे साथ हजारीबाग में, मैं आपको 10,000 की 2 बकरी आपको दिलवा दूं.
Okay.
नहीं देखिए, पर मैंने कहा ना कि you have to understand
you have to understand people start small. Give him the mic.
People start small.
1 second.
Not a job. सर मतलब ये सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट है ना सर, तो फिर सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट पे सर कोई प्रॉफिट भी तो कोई कहाँ से आएगा सर, अगर किसी पास पैसे नहीं है.
भाई साहब देखिए मैं आपको समझाता हूँ. पहली बात ये है 70 लाख अच्छे जॉब हो रहे हैं.
याचक नहीं अधिकारी हैं. कब सरकार युवाओं के लिए रेड कारपेट बिछाएगी, कौन से बजट में?
जो दावोस में
हमने रेड कारपेट युवाओं के लिए बिछा दिया, चाहे वो कौशल विकास योजना हो या स्टार्टअप इंडिया हो या स्किल इंडिया हो, उसके द्वारा हम लोगों ने युवाओं के लिए रेड कारपेट बिछा दिया.
Okay, 1 second. The gentleman is itching to ask a question.
फरवरी 2017 से पहले किसान उम्मीद लगाकर बैठा था कि सरकार इस बार हमारी फसल के दाम बढ़ाएगी. क्या इस बार भी किसान की उम्मीदों पर नाकाम होंगी? क्या इस बजट के बजट में किसान की उम्मीद साकार करने की सरकार सोच रही है?
Okay, Mike. Can this gentleman ask the question? Go on.
Please, sir.
Go on.
Sir, India leads the world in technology. We have Sundar Pichai, we have Google, we have all sorts of technological innovations. But in the previous generation, there used to happen brain drain. Now, Trump administration has sent a lot of people back. So the government is not doing about it, but the other governments are clear about it. So why can't we generate on that? The education sector is allocated 80,000 crores. That is far more less compared to what you have the bullet train that we are talking of, and even the Shivaji statues. Why would we need a bullet train where the whole of the country doesn't even have menstrual pads and stuff like that? So my simple question here is, yes, we talk about defense, yes, we talk about agriculture, but why are we forgetting about education? We don't have IITs and IIMs coming up anymore that much. And even then, there are a lot of reservations, a lot of people, a lot of the general crowd are submerged into other sectors and they don't have jobs.
One question.
It's certainly not either or. As far as infrastructure is concerned, bullet trains are concerned, or normal railways, or airports, or flights, we are doing everything possible there. Roads, we are doing everything possible there. It's not either or. We can do this and do this. And by the way, it's not either or between infrastructure and education either. As far as education is concerned, we have put tremendous amount of resources to work. I can tell you that the institutions of eminence that are coming up, where we will have 20 universities, 10 public, 10 private, that will be given the incentives to become world class, are going to be spectacular. And when these institutions of eminence come up, just like the Harvards, MITs, Stanfords, Oxfords, Cambridges of the world have done, they will bring up the entire education system.
When,
so
sir? 4 years are already over in 2040?
Well, of course. The institutions are eminence.
You think they'll be in power in 2040?
No, when?
Tab tak chhod diya aapne inko.
Then now.
They are 26. Some ideas will get implemented in 2070. Some will get implemented in 2058. But the elections are in 2019.
And we will win those elections for sure.
That lady. I'm also running out of time.
So
that
as a student, most important thing for us is qualitative education. In government schools and colleges, we don't find it anywhere. Then we switch on to private schools and colleges. Their education rates are very higher. So where is affordable qualitative education for us?
No. Thank you. That's a very good question, which is how do we get affordable quality education? Now, of course, you know that as far as higher education is concerned, you're getting affordable quality education in all of our universities. If you go to one of the IITs, for example, you hardly pay anything in tuition, but you get an absolutely world-leading education. I myself am from one of the IITs.
No, but her point is, how few IITs do we have?
No, we have
What's
now
the average
IITs.
quality of
we have
the education?
23 IITs now. 23 IITs. So those are coming up. Those are coming up very quickly.
But you have 50 crore
and
young
at the
people.
same time, as far as school level education is concerned, we are pouring resources into teacher training, into quality curriculum, into setting higher standards. In every domain of education, we're doing our level best to improve the quality of education.
Okay.
That's because students have gone to private schools. That's why.
So I am an IIM Rohtak student. So I would like to ask, what are your views on the long-term capital gains tax? Should it be implemented?
That, of course, is something that we have to wait for the budget. And let's see what decision
He
is
just
made
spoke
in the
of how
budget
well the stock market is doing. You do that, you take a gun and you fire the stock market down. Okay, just one question because we are out of time.
So my question is for you, sir. Let's not deviate from the topic from budget to loan. And since if we have been deviated, let us combine these two topics. So my simple question is this, sir, in this upcoming budget 2018, sir, what are the taxes and all for student loans, sir? The loans which have been taken us by the students, sir.
See, please understand one very simple thing. I cannot discuss the budget right now because we have to wait till the budget is announced at 11 a.m. on February 1st. Till that happens, I cannot talk about the budget at all because it is a confidential document that is, being finalized and will be presented on February 1st. So please don't ask me any questions on the budget. Of course, as far as supporting students are concerned, we are fully committed towards doing that.
Mr. Surjewala wants to make concluding comments.
We heard the eloquent comments of my friend. All that I will say, and you spoke about where are the अच्छे दिन. अब देश के 125 करोड़ लोग कहते हैं कोई लौटा दो मेरे बीते हुए दिन.
और अगर वो बीते हुए दिन यूपीए के दिन हो गए तो वो किसी को पसंद नहीं आएंगे.
Okay, so we had two super articulate, super sharp voices joining us in this 2018 budget Modinomics. It's not Pakodanomics just yet, but Modinomics. Thank you very much, Jayant Sinha, for squaring off with Randeep Surjewala. And we've had some very, very smart questions from our audience as well. So big round of applause for all the young people who joined us in this audience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
More such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.